It is Thursday, February 22nd, and welcome, JP, to Exopolitics Today.
How you doing, Doc? It's a pleasure to be here on Exopolitics to bring this beautiful information to you.
Well, I'm very glad that you're able to give us an update. It's been a few weeks now. So, why don't you tell us, what is it that recently happened?
Well, I just also want to thank the public, for following me and being there for me on YouTube and on Instagram. It's really beautiful. The people that are starting to follow me from Brazil and all over Europe and United States, South America. It's amazing, the support. And I just want to thank public for that.
You are listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Sala, your source for the uncensored truth regarding the human, extraterrestrial, global, and political agenda. Click the like button and subscribe to this channel. And now, here's Dr. Michael Sala.
We were heading to a field, right? Everybody got into like an SUV, a total of like 5 people, 3 people sitting in the back, 2 in the middle, and the other 2, the one that was driving and the other one that was sitting in the passenger side. We took an SUV and we drove more into like a practice zone. So we drove there and we had all blacks. So I knew something was going to go down. When you get that feeling, oh, okay, something is going to go down. So we parked, we got out, and then out of nowhere, 4 beautiful helicopters, Apache Blackhawk helicopters, started landing. And I'm like, man, what's going to happen? And Dan, he was there with us, but he had a mask on. I didn't see his face, but I know his voice. I said, Dan, is that you? He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Dan, is that you? Yeah, man, shut up. Yeah, that's me. So I knew his voice. So he was there with us in this particular mission that we were going to.
JP, do you ever have to wear a mask on any of these missions? Were you wearing a mask, or is it just some of the soldiers do?
It's voluntary, but they do want you to wear the mask. It's not one of those COVID masks. It's a mask that's connected to your ACH.
Okay, you want to explain a little more what that would look like?
Yeah, a skiing mask, similar to that. And it has like a little round filtration system in it on the right side of it. And it gives a space to your mouth like 1 or 2 inches. So you'll sound like this and people will still understand you. But these particular masks are connected to everybody. So everybody can hear you clear like this.
I
but
see.
If you're not wearing a mask, you'll hear people like this. So it's kind of interesting how everybody's connected. Has a mic to it. So it's like it's not made of like a fabric, it's more like a plastic-ish type of mask.
Okay, so you and the other 5 guys were all wearing the masks?
You could take it off. You could take it off. It buttons on to the particular helmet that we wear. Yeah, it's interesting what they give us when we go out to these particular missions because I think they know the type of elements that we're going to run into. So we started stepping on the helicopter. The driver said, oh, these helicopters are here for you guys. And we're like, oh, shit. Oh, man. Oh, crap. All right, we didn't know about this. I said, yeah, you're never going to know about this. So we went where the helicopter landed, and we started going, and, everybody ducks their heads because those helicopters, those propellers, you need to be careful. So it's an instincto that you have to lower your head in order to get into these helicopters. So we got into these helicopters, and we strapped in, and we waited like 10 minutes, and they were giving us, there was a medic giving shots. And, I know probably a lot of people are going to be mad about this, but I assure you that we do everything and we take precaution on everything that we do. And you trust each other. That's the main thing of being in the military. You have to trust each other. And if the medic wants to give you a shot for this particular mission that you're going on to, you're going to take the shot. So I took the shot.
And
I
there's
felt
there's four Blackhawk helicopters, you said, but all of you got onto one.
Yeah, there was already other people already. You could see other people already there, so they picked up other people from different spots. But I noticed everybody seemed like not dazed, but like sleepy in the other helicopters. So I'm like, oh shit, this shit's gonna put us down. This whatever this shot is. So I got the shot, and I felt this taste under my tongue. It was a weird like vinegar taste, and we just dozed off. I don't know what time I was already on the helicopter strapped on, and they were giving shots to everybody. And I guess after 10 minutes, I just blacked out. And I don't remember nothing of how long was the trip or how long was this place. When I opened my eyes, they cracked a waker and they put it to our nose. And I just woke up and my eyes was just wide open and everything was like white. And I was hearing the other two helicopters taking off, and you could see the other people. There was Marines, there was Air Force personnel, there was people from different countries, dressed in different uniforms. We were in this big ice-looking cavern. I think I sent you the pictures on WhatsApp on the idea of how it looked like.
Okay, so those pictures you sent, they resemble how it looked, but that they weren't of the actual incident.
Just resembling of how it went and how it went down. So we saw this big cavern, and we saw another helicopter landing in the middle of the cavern. I was like, "Oh, where the hell are we at?" It was cold as shit. It was really cold. I'm not saying it's Antarctica or the North Pole or the South Pole, but I know it was a cold place. I know North America is in winter right now, so it could have been anywhere in Canada. That's the closest thing I can think where maybe this type of cavern would be, and everything is frozen.
Now, just to understand this, I mean, you got on this Blackhawk helicopter with 5 other guys. There's a bunch of other Blackhawks. You get the shot, then you wake up, and you're in the Blackhawk. I mean, this other location. I mean, did the Blackhawk do that? Because the Blackhawks can't go that fast. I mean, to go from
it must have been probably a place that was really close. I don't know. I blacked out. I don't know how much time went by, and I was looking at my watch, and it was showing the same time as when I left. So it wasn't making sense to me, the situation that we were in. So it could have been that they took us to another location, put us on a TR-3B, everybody, I guess, asleep, and then took us to another location and then put us back on a Apache helicopter. But that would be too much work. So I don't think that was the case. I think, I don't know where it was. I can't say that it's Antarctica. I don't know where it was. But I know it was a cavern, and it had ice on it. And you could see like a waterfall that was like frozen, that was coming in from the hole that where the helicopters were coming into and landing. And it was a cold place. And it puzzled me the same way it's puzzling you as where maybe the location might be, because a helicopter cannot travel that far, that fast. Or I don't know how long it took. Yeah, they don't travel that fast. So it must have been somewhere close to Florida, but I don't know where it would be frozen like that, near Florida or near the lower states. Not unless maybe a mountain that's located with snow in the Georgias or Carolinas.
Okay, that makes more sense. Some sort of icy cavern somewhere where there's snow at the moment.
So I do not know where the location was. And My phone was not working. My watch was not working. We were as confused, like, where the hell this place is at. But I remember we were on a high, snowy place, but inside a cavern. It was really nice. You could see the sun peeking into the hole, and there's like a river. And then we walked more in the cavern, like probably like 3 football fields in the cavern, and then we see this structure that looked like a temple. It looked beautiful. It looked with so much details, but you could tell it was like a type of granite marble, made of granite marble, similar to how they build in Spain. I don't know if you're familiar with the Sagrada Familia church over there. The type of detail they have over there.
The Gothic type style architecture. Yeah.
Yeah, that has a lot of detail and all that, but it was embedded into the cavern. It looked like a little castle. It was beautiful. And there was crates right next to it, and they were putting stuff into it. So there was a lot of different soldiers and a lot of different people putting these boxes into it. So they called us down, and we started going down closer to this beautiful, beautiful building or castle or whatever you want to call it. It had a lot of windows. It looked like it was vacant. Nobody was living into there. When we entered, it was probably like 14, 16 feet high, the arch, when you enter into it. And then it grows into like 20 feet high arch when you enter into the building. And you look around, and it's beautiful. A lot of statues of like mythological creatures looking type, like Greek type of mythological creatures. A lot of the gods of the Greek gods. I saw a couple of them, and then it does like a transitions to like the Mayans type of dragon looking gargoyle to the sides. And it was beautiful place. It looked like a type of history type of place that people will go to, like a type of museum of like statues.
So this kind of castle-like building is inside this massive icy cavern.
Yeah, it's inside this massive icy cavern, but everything is like frozen. I think because there's water going in, and the temperature, I think, gets lower inside. The way it is it gets really low temperature. Everything freezes connecting to the structure. So it was cold. I tell you that. It was really cold. You could feel the wind still because in the cavern, but you could see the sun. You could still see the hole of the sun coming in. So you could see the reflection of the granite and all that. So we went in, right? And you could see a lot of soldiers working in different spots of this. I'm like, man, what is this? I was freezing. I was like, what are we doing here? And then it's just like, bro, shut up and just go with the flow, man. Just go with the flow. And I'm like, this is too beautiful to be kept like this, you know? I think people should know about these particular places. It's like, bro, sometimes these places cannot be disclosed because of national security type of stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. And the security of those that built it. So I guess whatever civilization built this type of castle tower type of thing, in the middle of the structure, there's a type of stairway that looked like a tunnel that goes in like really deep, but it had like a round door on it. You can see like a metal round door, like it was blocked. And we saw like at least 30 soldier type people, and there were bigger people than us, probably 6'6". They were huge, protecting this door. Like nobody can get close to this door, but we can still be close to the structure. So when I saw the crates of what the other soldiers were carrying out, there were round gold plates stacked up. Gold, a lot of gold, a lot of gold. I never seen so much gold like this. I'm like, man, if this shit is ours, this country just became the richest country in the whole freaking planet. If all this gold is ours. The room that I saw that had all these plates of gold was probably like thousands, hundreds of thousands of these plates of gold. And people were taking them out, put them in crates, and put them in other crates, bigger crates. Like, the one people use when they put on boats to take to other countries.
Pallets? You're talking about pallets?
No, it's not pallets. They're putting them in massive crates.
I like the containers.
Containers, yeah. They had like at least 30 or 60 containers all set up like this. And you had type of trucks that was coming in and heading out to another location that we didn't know where they were going. So
when you're saying those containers, we're talking like those big 40-foot long shipping containers that can.
Shipping containers.
So they're being filled with all of these gold plates.
Yeah, a lot of gold plates.
Can you describe what one of these gold plates look like? I mean, how big?
They look the size of a regular frisbee, but they were solid. So they were round, the size of a frisbee, a sport frisbee. Mm-hmm. But they're thick and they're round, and they have like this weird ancient Sumerian writing lines with triangles on each one. So Dan, he was telling me, hey man, I think this is a type of freaking payment or something. I'm like, bro, but a payment from where? And he was like, man, I heard something about them striking a deal or something like that with technology. He was just talking some random weird shit that we struck a deal with an inner civilization, and they told us about this location and that we have to, I guess, split profit to everybody else. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, gold and only gold. That's it. And we were like, bro, this is a lot of freaking gold. Like a lot of gold. And it was that dark, nice gold. Like, that it was like a real gold. I picked one up and it felt like probably like 25 pounds.
Okay, so just one of those gold frisbee shaped plates was 25 pounds. Okay, so I guess that would be like solid gold.
Yeah. So we helped a little bit with the crates and putting it in the container. And each container had a different language on it. I remember seeing like Asian type. I don't know what it was, if it was Japanese, Chinese, but it looked like Asian on the crate. I saw something that resembles Greek on the crates, also Arabic on the crates, even Hebrew I saw on the crates. So I'm thinking these crates were going out to these different countries. That's me assuming, why else the name would be on the crates, on the containers and all that. So we went more in, and I saw Nordics in the distance, and they didn't have long hair.
Well, hey, before you talk about the Nordics that you see in the distance, you first described some guards. At some point in that castle, there were some guards. You said they were like different to the soldiers. You guys are there.
Huge. They were huge guards, and I did not want to approach them.
Well, was there anything distinctive about them? Were they human? Were they something else?
I don't know. They were wearing a uniform, and were covering their faces, but they looked huge and chunky looking. Big people, but they were all covered up.
But they were different to the soldiers. I mean, the soldiers that you were with and that were there.
Yeah. And even the weapons were different type of weapons that they have. It looked like guns, but the opening of the gun, it looked like a flower looking thing that closes up. In the tip of their weapon, they had like something that closed up like a flower, like a rose before opening up. You know how a rose looks?
Mhm.
So we didn't want them. They told us not to get close to them. So we decided, yeah, let's leave those people alone, whoever they are. We don't want no conflict with them. So we just did not want to approach anybody that had weapons and protecting the door. Let's leave them as it is. And, sometimes when you go on these missions, they tell you not to approach something. Just don't approach them.
So these beings, they were guarding some doorway to some other area of that castle-like structure.
And you can see stairs, and then there's a big, like, metal door, like, protecting. So on the stairs, and you had, like, there's at least, like, 20 of them protecting the perimeter. And they're just walking back and forth, talking to each other. They had a really, really low tone of voice. I heard English, but there was also different type of language that they were speaking, not knowing what it was. So their uniform, it was black as well, and they had like a type of metal thing coming out from the right shoulder. It had like a beam that I think it was like a type of light thingy, majiggy, that they can turn on. So we saw that, but it was not turned on. Yeah, they looked different. Yeah. So I never seen them before. I don't know who they are or what they are, but I did see the Nordics. And they were in a military uniform. Their hair was cut off. And I wanted to approach them. They were talking to other soldiers like nothing, telling them what to do and how to do it. They were also there for investigating the statues and investigating the language that was there in that building. So they were doing research on that too. So everybody was working together. I did see, I don't know if I could say grays.
Oh, you're talking about the Greys. Let's just back up a little bit. You say you saw the Nordics there as well, wearing...
Yeah, we stayed and talked a little bit and all that about the situation that was happening around the world and how they were involved. We just asked random questions. Said, "Hey, man, how do you guys fly around those ships?" And they started laughing. What ships you guys are talking about? I'm like, yeah, those ships that we see flying around, beautiful spaceships that you guys fly around. And I don't know, there's like an inside joke that when you see a Nordic, you always start talking about the ships. So they get annoyed sometimes because they don't like talking about the ships. So I went close to him and I said, hey, can you tell me any information about these ships? And he's like, ha, 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 ha. What do you want to know? I was like, hey, how is it inside? So he looked at me really serious and he was like, what do you want to know? I'm like, no, we just, we see you guys flying around a lot, and I really want to know, about these ships, about how do they fly? He's like, yeah, but what do you want to know? Like, do you guys got gravity inside the ship? And then he told me that each planet has a distinct gravitational pull, right? And each planet has a different oxygen density. So the ships mimics the planet's gravitational pull inside the ship. So the ships, right? He was telling me that the ship mimics the gravitational pull of the vibration of each planet. So it gets embedded in the DNA of the ship. So say a ship enters Earth atmosphere, right? The ship still mimics the planet that they last visit, the atmosphere and the gravitational pull inside the ship. But if they want to change it, they have to go through a heating process. And I'm like, what do you mean a heating process? What do you mean a heating process? So the way these ships work, they have to go through a heating process in order to mimic the same gravitational pull and same oxygen density that the planet has. So they can come to Earth and then leave Earth atmosphere, and they still have the gravity inside the ship and the oxygen density inside the ship as if it was Earth still. So I guess the ship has a way of mimicking and embedding the type of gravity and the type of oxygen level that the ship visits. Could be any kind of planet. So each planet is different in size. So if you do see a Nordic that is probably like 8 foot tall or 7 foot tall, and they weigh like 300 or maybe 350 pounds, their planet was slightly bigger than ours in the way, in the Goldilocks zone of their solar system. So there's planets that look like ours, but the organisms are bigger because the planet has a bigger gravitational pull and probably has a higher oxygen density. I wasn't understanding as much, but I kind of got the idea about how maybe these ships mimics the gravity and mimics the oxygen density of each planet that they visit, and it stays ingrained in the planet's memory. So when they do visit these planets, they don't have to go through that heating process. The ship knows what planet they're in, because I guess it matches the data that they first. You understanding a little bit, or?
Yeah, I get that. So the environmental, gravitational variables for different worlds, different locations are factored into that craft's navigation system. And so when they go to different places, they're prepared in the interior of their spacecraft for the exterior things. But I assume then they might have like environmental controls like we do, like they might have masks or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds as though these Nordics that you were talking to, that they were breathing the same oxygen, that they were walking around, so they're completely acclimated to Earth conditions.
Yeah, they're really acclimated to Earth condition, and then there's different oxygen level also on inner Earth type of civilizations. Underwater also is a type of different oxygen density. So yeah, it could explain why these ships, when they enter the water, they still keep the same speed and they still keep the same gravity inside the ship and oxygen level. So it was quite interesting. He told me that. Huh?
What were the Nordics doing there? I mean, it seems like your team was there to observe or to help in the movement of that gold into the containers. What were the Nordics doing?
They were investigating the statues and the language that was there. So they were just investigating the area. I guess they'd never been there before. They never saw something like this before. So they were just putting one and one together, trying to figure out who are these people and why was everybody else receiving this type of gold, and what is this gold for? This was real gold. There's a lot of money involved here. This is the most gold I've ever seen in my life. Quite interesting, this particular mission. After we talked to the Nordics, in the distance I saw what looked like grays, but we did not approach these entities. They were wearing all black. I could see in the distance their big eyes, but I don't know if it was a type of helmet because it was too shiny. Their long fingers, I could see it. They were talking to some other, I think they were Marines that they were talking to or communicating with. They were really far. I could see them probably like 70 yards away, but they're distinct looking, they got big heads, bigger heads. Yeah, they were like pointing to the Marines, like what was happening, and ships around, their ships around. But I could see them talking to a Marine uniform type of military personnel. I could tell that it was marine because it's a darker greenish camouflage color.
So these greys, I mean, some people talk about, of course, grey extraterrestrials, and then there's also programmed life forms. In other words, greys that are cloned by the space programs or the secret projects. So any idea, were these extraterrestrials or could they have been, these programmed life forms?
Do not know. I wasn't close enough to tell, but I knew they looked like greys. But I don't know. And we wasn't asking a lot of questions. The first conversation we had was with that Nordic being. It's because he was working with some of us. So with other people that were doing investigation on the artwork and the language that were part of the military. So we just took advantage and got close to them and just started talking to them.
So was there a kind of clear mission goal that you guys had? I mean, the five of you, what was your primary objective in going to this location?
We were helping out. I moved probably 18 crates of gold. It took me like an hour and 30 to move those crates around there. It was nonstop with all these guys. A lot of heavy work. It was just moving them to one place to another, making sure they go into the right place, right crate. You have hired people showing you what container they were going into. Yeah, we were just there helping out. And I guess they only use people that has been through particular missions. And they use people that are comfortable with these type of situations and missions. So I guess everybody that was there, and there was a lot of people. I can estimate there was probably in all 150 of military personnel. But that's including the Nordics and the Greys and those other guys. So there's 150 people in all there with other four-wheelers type of vehicles that they had that has 6 wheels. It was quite interesting, Doc, the situation. So some guy, he came, I think he was a higher ranking dude, but he had a mask on. He's like, hey, we're not going to need you guys no more. I think we got this handled. And then Dan was like, man, what's the freaking point of this? What the hell is going on? What was the freaking point of this? And he was just confused or crap out. He was like, they can have other people doing this crap, What is the point for us to come down to here and all that? So when I was telling that same thing to the guy that gives me the green light to talk about these things, he says, they want you to talk about this. That's the main reason about all these missions. They just want you to talk about this and let the public know what's going on and that this is happening and keeping it in record that this is happening. So when this does come out, it won't be as a shocker for a lot of people that are awake and know this information. So some of these missions do not make sense sometimes, but when I'm here talking to you, Doc, and we put this out and other people hear this, and it's probably other people that's been going through this too, they do feel a type of release. They feel a type of happiness that this information is coming out because they know, it's not kept from them. So they feel like a sense of release when they do hear this, the people that are doing these missions, and they hear these interviews because they know that other people in other nations are hearing about this information. And this is not happening only over here in our homeland. It's happening also in other countries as well. These types of weird missions that people go through, and it's weird, but we finished. They told us to leave, and we were heading back to the top part of where the helicopter lands, and we waited 40 minutes up there. It's cold. Helicopter came in. We got on. They gave us a shot again. We got the shot again. After 10 minutes, I started dozing off, and I dozed off. We woke up again. We ended up back to where we began with the SUV. And Dan was like, this is bullshit, man. This is crazy. Why? Like, I don't want them to use me no more. You know, like, why do I have to go through this? Like, Dan, just run with it. He's like, shut up, man. So I said the same thing to him that he told me, like, just run with it. He's like, yeah, but I just don't understand. This is senseless. It's like everything that happens sometimes is for a reason. I'm glad I talked to that Nordic. I got something out of it, you know, about probably how their ships run and all that. So that was quite well. I got that these guards were different from us, and they're probably a different civilizations that we don't know about that live on Earth, and we don't know what type of technology that they have, and we don't know why. I assume that the whole building is theirs, of those people that were guarding the entrance. And I think, like Dan said, I think it was like a payment of some sort to the outer Earth people of some sort of deal that went down.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I kind of like wonder what kind of a deal was struck, because it sounds like all of that gold that was being collected was going to be shipped off to different parts of the world. But even though that's an ancient civilization that was found, or that where the gold was found was in this ancient structure, castle, whatever, in this location somewhere in the northern parts of the United States, that they would ship that to other countries. So, yeah, that would suggest some kind of agreement is happening. Maybe this is being found all over the place. Similar things are happening in other countries where some of the stuff is being shipped to America. That's my guess.
Yeah, maybe a technology switch. I don't know. But we were puzzled when we came back. And Dan was like, man, I don't get this shit. Like, man, I just want to get out. I'm like, bro, just run with it. We came back like any other day. We saw the helicopters leaving. And I took my phone out and I took a video of the helicopters leaving the area. And I was like, go, go. Yeah. It was quite interesting, the mission.
Okay, so you did send me a video of the helicopters. It was dark. You could hear helicopters, and I could hear someone saying, go, go, go. Mm-hmm. So that's video. I mean, is that something we can release with this recording, or something we have to hold on to?
Yes, it could be released.
Let's go.
Oh, that's great. I think people will be happy about that. So any final things you want to say about that mission? When did it happen? I mean, today's Thursday.
Tuesday.
22nd. So we're talking 2 days ago?
2 days ago.
Okay, so this happened on Tuesday, February 20. Okay, that's great to know. So now you have created a YouTube channel and an Instagram channel. You want to maybe say to the audience that aren't familiar or haven't found that yet, why you created those channels, what you plan to put up on those channels?
These channels, I will be putting hints of my next missions and probably thoughts that I get sometimes about situations in life and how people should think when they experience these situations. I think it will be good. I'm connecting with a lot of people that are saying that they've been through these type of situations, that by keywords, when I talk to them, I know that they've been through these certain situations by me vetting them in a certain way, I could tell if they're telling the truth or not. So there's a couple people that I think they're genuine of going through these type of things, especially in Brazil and other different countries. So it's quite interesting, the connection. And yeah, putting things out, and the real updates will always be with you, Doc. After I drop an update with you, and after this information comes out, I will put other hints of things that are happening around us and soon to be revealed. So yeah, I'm really happy. Yeah, Instagram jp.missions, and then the YouTube video is jp.
That's great. I'll put links in this video description for people that want to go to the YouTube or go to the Instagram account. So any final words you want to say to our Brazilian and Spanish friends?
So, todos os brasileiros, obrigado por seguir eu. Estou muito agradecido por vocês. Amo muito vocês. Por todo lo que hablan español también. Agradezco todo lo que están me siguiendo. Y los amo. Y estamos aqui juntos. A gente estamos juntos trazendo esta informação para todo mundo. Yeah, I basically said that I'm really happy with the support, and we're going to bring more information out just for people not to be in the dark, about what's happening. So that's the most important thing, share this information, and people will be happy about what they hear.
Okay, well, fantastic. Thank you, JP, for sharing. I know people always appreciate you giving updates on what has been happening, and I'm sure people will be fascinated to learn about this really incredible discovery somewhere concerning all of this kind of like gold that's been discovered, and the agreements that's behind it, and the different ET groups that are also kind of monitoring all of this. So thank you, JP.
Roger that. Appreciate you, Doc, for everything that you do. And yeah, people are going to be shocked when all this information comes out to the public about these different type of things that are happening worldwide and in our solar system.
You have been listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Join or start a conversation in the comments. Take the time to explore the vast library of best-selling books, webinars, and podcasts by Dr. Salla. Visit exopoliticstoday.com.